If your reeds are always stuffy, there's probably something you can change in the beginning when you scrape a blank to make it not stuffy. It's all about how you set yourself up. So let's get started. I'm gonna put a blank in the water and let's scrape on it together and get it to vibrate. Okay, so I've got my blank soaked up. Let's put it on my mandrel. Good. And you can tell I have already worked in the tip. So I have scraped just a rough tip in. It's not super thin or anything, but I do that when I let my blanks dry. And I do think that's very important that you do that to your blanks as well, because what it's gonna do is help keep this nice slope and it won't dry so open. So if your reeds, if you're having issues with them being super open and you're not scraping stuff off the tip of the reed, when you let it dry, then you need to try it because it will fix that problem. Okay, so I'll just start back in the tip and start thinning it now. I'm just looking for high places. Like I said, this was not perfect when I put this on my blank, this tip line in. I just do it to close it down. Okay, good, there we go. My knife was catching. Okay, now from here, I start in the corners and I just start getting the bark off. Now I'm scraping with the curvature of the cane, of course, as always. But at this step, you know, we're gonna get all this bark off and we're eventually gonna clip it open. So we do not have to be perfect here. This cane is kind of mealy. I just gouged a bunch of new cane the other day, so I'll be tying blanks later. That should fix my mealy cane problem. Okay, so you can tell so far I have just scraped the bark off the heart on both sides. Now I'm going to continue to work my way down, leaving the rails, of course, the rails on the side of the reed. That just helps hold up the structure. If you take the rails off, it can really weaken the reed and you might take too much and then, you know, dig into the side and then it won't seal. Yeah, so be careful when you're scraping on the edge, near the edge here. So I like to leave rails and it kind of looks like a U, whoop, when it's all done, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, scrape, scrape. Now when you scrape the bark off, you'll see like a darker cane underneath, like a darker color. And really that just tells you it's thicker, and sometimes we call that the underbark. So that also needs to go. But sometimes I leave it and take it off last after I get all the spine. Like if I have any left over, like right now, my spine has that underbark still, so that'll have to come off. Okay, scrape, scrape, scrape. Whoop. Careful of the edges. Okay. All right. And throughout this process, I like to test the flexion of the reed, even right here in the beginning. We haven't even gotten all the bark off yet, but I like to feel the flexion, and this reed's starting to get it. Okay, so let's keep working. Oops. Now I do leave some bark right above the thread. So I like to start, let's measure it. How many millimeters do I leave? I guess about 5. I start with 5. It's going to come back to maybe 4 or 3. Well, probably 4. 3 if the reed is really hard. or flat or open. Then you can close it down by scraping this U, the bottom of the U, further back. But for now, we do not need to do that. Okay. Cleaning it up. Good. Now from here, I'm just going to go and clean up where that underbark is still on the cane. Being a little more careful now. Notice I'm scraping very carefully around the spine. I'm not going straight down the middle. I'm actually on the sides. It might look like I'm going straight down the middle, but I'm not. And then, okay. And then the other side, the heart has some underbark on it, so I'm going to take that off. The heart is the meat of the reed. It is the heart of the reed, the soul. That's funny. I realized that after I said it. The heart is the heart of the reed. Yes, that is so true. I'm really corny, guys. Y'all are going to see that if you have not noticed already. Okay, still working this underbark. Oops. And, okay. All right. My knife is catching on this mealy cane a little bit, but that's okay. All right, so now I like to narrow the side of, or the bottom of the sides of the spine just a little bit, because that helps me to find where that is. Okay. All right, let's test the flexion. That's good. Okay. You can kind of see what we're looking at here, the slope, angle. It's very gradually sloped. Okay. Now I'm going to make this flex a little bit more before I clip it open. And I do that, I want this reed to vibrate kind of rattly when I clip it open. I do not want it to be hard. And that's where your reeds get stuffy. If you were to clip it open right now where it's still a little hard, I mean, it flexes some, but man, it does not flex enough. If you clip it open right now, it will be hard. And then it's going to be very discouraging because you're going to have to search for those vibrations. And yes, you can find them, but it is so much more encouraging if you get the nice blend, this nice blend between the tip and the heart, so that when you clip it open, it vibrates. And I find if you can get your tip to peep easily and the heart to vibrate with it, that is what will make it respond easily, which is what you want. And it's what you're lacking if your reeds are stuffy. So if you don't get that from the beginning, your reed could very well be stuffy. And the whole time you're working on it, you might be searching for vibrations and for a response when you could have just set it up in the beginning. So this is why I like to get it super flexy. Don't take too much out to make it, you know, like a pancake that smushes down. We still want the structure there. The integrity of the reed is there. Okay, let's clip it open. Okay, where you can see it, let me see. I clip about 1 millimeter off. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna look at it. Okay, now you can tell I just clipped it. The tip is still thick. Of course, it's going to be thick when you clip it. But when I press on it gently, it does flex a little bit, but I'm going to just, from here, yeah, this is good. We have some flexibility. The very next thing I do, I mean, I could crow at night now, but it's going to be a not what we're looking for, right? I'm going to scrape in the tip, because once I thin the tip a little bit more after I initially clip it open, then we're going to crow it. And it should be kind of like a party favor. So we'll see what happens with this mealy piece of cane. All right, so I'm scraping it. I start almost like a 45-degree angle when I'm in the sides of the tip, and then I straighten up, and then I gently, it's like floating into clouds. So you want the tip, you don't want to stop your knife right here and have this really thick place in the tip. You want the knife to go over and up so that we're getting it thin at the top. Again, this does not have to be perfect because right now this reed is pretty long. I tie my blanks on at 74 and I only clipped a millimeter off, so it's probably at 73 right now. Okay, I just had to wet it a little bit. Okay, let's go to the other side, do the same thing. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Okay, other side. Okay, I'm laughing because this reed's going to be such a party favor when I crow it for you. But that's what we want, that's what we're looking for. Okay, let's see. Okay, it kind of looks a little, see how it, even here, outside corners close first, then the center. That's what we want. You can hear like a little popping, do you hear it? That's the, it's soaked up, so it does that when it releases, and that's what we look for. Okay. We'll give it a crow. I can tell it needs a little bit more flexibility in the back, but it should do something. Yeah, I told you, party favor. But that's how I like to start them, because you're getting those vibrations in there. Okay, at this point, I'm going to clip another millimeter off, or a little less than a millimeter. Okay. Okay, slightly less party favor, but still, we have not refined this at all yet. So let's have a little piece of, let's dunk it. There we go. Now look at the closure. Okay, so I could just clip it right here, right? But I'm gonna go and see what the tip is looking like. Because at this point, you know, if we clip it and have thick places still, like up at the top, we're gonna have to fix that later. So right here, I can tell it's a little thick right here at the corner on the right side. So, and your plaque will tell you a lot. If when your reed is wet, you can tilt the plaque up like this. And you can see where the thin places are, where the thick places are. Okay, other side. This side looks a little unbalanced for sure, so I'm gonna do just a little bit. There's a thick place right here. But again, I'm still creating that nice blend right here. So right now, I'm just working on the sides, like the bottom of the tip and the top of the heart, but like the sides of it, the corners, because this is where that nice blend is. These are where the vibrations come. Okay, I got a little bit of underbark still right here, so I am gonna clean that up. Okay, let's give it a crow. Okay, this is good. because it's a more of a party favor again, so we can clip it. Notice I only clip it if I have too many vibrations. And when the reed is long, clipping it when it's hard is going to make it harder. So search for vibrations, then clip it. And I just clip little bits at a time. I never clip from 74 down to 71 immediately because, oh my goodness, the reed's going to be so hard. I gradually clip it back until it gets to the length I want it to be. And usually that's 71 is the highest, but usually 70 and a half is where I end up at with my finished reeds. Okie dokie. Let's see. Now I haven't really done anything in the back yet. You'll notice that. Other than take the bark off and set the spine. Let's see where we're at. We're at 72. Okay, so we have 1 millimeter to go. So we're going to do more of the same. At this point, I don't really want to take any more out in where the actual sides of the heart will be, because we're still bringing this reed back. So earlier when I was working on the sides of the heart splend area, that was still in the tip, really, if you think about it, because we're cutting it back slowly and just working our way backwards. Okay. At this point, I might just say, okay, this is where the back is. Just a little bit. I just barely scrape behind the heart. Get this underbark out of the way. Okay. And you don't have to have a groove there like I did. I prefer not to, but my knife caught on it a little bit. Okay. Screw it. It seals nicely. When I tongue on it gently, it is very responsive, which is good. I'm laughing because if I played it right now, it would probably sound really funny. But okay, let's clip just a 0.5 millimeter off. As the reed gets shorter and shorter, I clip smaller amounts at a time off the reed. Got a little something right there. Okay. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere, you guys. This is slowly becoming closer to a crow. It's still flat right now, and that's okay. I'm going to squeeze the throat of the reed a little bit to get it to close down. It should be a little flat, a little party favor-ish. We haven't put a tip line in or anything. So let's see. Yeah, it's very flat, but man, it goes, it vibrates. All right, so at this point, we will clip this reed and see what happens. All right, so we're gonna clip it. Another 0.5 millimeter. And then we're going to put our tip line in now. So measure. Okay, we're a little over 71. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just say, oh, put my tip line in. I do that at just a gentle score, and then the knife goes up. I find that the tip line, it really helps me to balance the reed because it helps me gauge like the symmetry of it. Now, it may look like I'm digging the cane out. I'm not. My knife needs to be sharpened. And I know I always say work with a sharp knife, but we're almost done here, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Okay, notice how that's looking. Haven't really taken much cane out in front of it yet. We will probably do that eventually, but for right now, I just want to put the basic line in. So make sure it's even on both sides. I think that is, okay. There it is. Okay. And then the other side. Come up a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see what it does now. All right. Okay. I'm just going to clean up the in front of the tip line a little bit. Now this is still a rough scrape, so I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to leave it a little rattly because it will sit and think about itself. The cane will dry out and things might change. So let's just see where we're at. All right, I'm gonna clip at you guys. Just a little bit. Okay. All right, I can tell by the flick of the tongue on that reed that it's gonna be a little bit hard. All right. A little raucous, that's okay. Yeah, and the last thing I'm gonna do is just scrape in the corners of the tip one more time. All right. All right, so let's see what it's doing now. The opening is very good. It's a little big, so I think it's gonna sound a little tubby, but that's okay. Yeah, it'll just need some refinement. But let's see what it's doing. Okay, so there we have it. This is the day one scrape. And a day one scrape is not usually gonna sound like the most amazing thing ever. You wanna get the bark off, you wanna get it to vibrate. Then you let it dry for at least a day, and it'll hopefully chill out, and some of those vibrations will automatically go away. At least in my case, they usually do. And usually it's just a little refining in the tip and then you're good to go. But if you focus on scraping on your blank that way in the beginning, it'll help your reed to peep more easily and be less stuffy. So I hope this video helped you. And if there's any other topics or anything else you're struggling with or want me to demonstrate, let me know in the comments below. And until then, I'll see you next time.